lot of people into this EU stuff, and that's why I just don't put a lot of weight on the European Union as the last days beast and all the prophecies the churches have always clung to, because I just don't think they're going to be around. Bishop Christianos Agita, 12th century, prophesied the 20th century there will be wars and fury that will last a long time. Whole provinces shall be emptied of their inhabitants, and kingdoms shall be thrown into confusion. In many places the land shall be left untilled, and there shall be great slaughters of the upper class. The right hand of the world shall fear the left, and the north shall prevail over the south. Yeah, I guess that describes the 20th century. All right, let's go on to the 12th century. Abbot Worden Dioranti, the great monarch and the great pope will precede the Antichrist. The nations will be at war for 4 years, and a great part of the world will be destroyed. The pope will go over the sea carrying the sign of redemption on his forehead. The great monarch will come to restore peace, and the pope will share in the victory. That'd be the great monarch here, being the Queen of England. See the UK stepping in. Somebody here prophesying about the UK. So this was kind of interesting. He said there would be war for 4 years. I was just reading one of the pagan sites the other day, one of them saying that there would be 4 more years of war. And if you look at that, it pretty much fits into what I've been seeing in the Bible codes itself. About 2009 is just a phenomenal year. Everything that you could imagine happening, all of the destruction of the world at one time, coupled with all of a sudden some of the greatest delusions we could ever imagine happening at the backside of all these destructions, and all happening in 1 year. And 2009 is just going to be phenomenal. It's going to be phenomenal. And I don't know how many people here in the United States will survive to see 2009. There's going to be a lot of destruction coming and a lot of wars coming. The United States isn't going to make it without being involved firsthand. We're going to see some destruction here, not just with the weather, but with government attacks in the guise of terrorism, taking out our cities, trying to get it under martial law and under control for this new world order. So it's going to take destruction. They want to get this country in martial law to get rid of the resistors of the new world order, the people that are going to cause them trouble in implementing the worship of the Antichrist in the world, and they call it cleansing, and the New Age crowd calls it cleansing, and of course the Illuminati crowd, New World Order crowd, just calls it depopulation. But yeah, a lot of stuff coming down. John Vitagori said the Pope will change his residence and the church will not be defended for 25 months or more, because during all that time there will be no Pope in Rome. After many tribulations, the Pope shall be elected out of those who survived the persecutions. And so he's seeing a time of church persecutions, but then looking ahead and seeing one after 2 years, somebody coming and being the Pope, and, of course that ain't going to happen. But we know that the church definitely is going to see persecution. There's going to be persecutions of the Lord's people all over the world. Anyone who refuses the mark of the beast is going to be persecuted. Johannes Friede, when the great time will come in which mankind will face its last hard trial, it will be foreshadowed by striking changes in nature. The alteration between cold and heat will become more intensive. Storms will have more catastrophic effects. Earthquakes will destroy great regions, and the seas will overflow many lowlands. Not all of it will be the result of natural causes, but mankind will penetrate into the bowels of the earth and will reach into the clouds, gambling with its own existence. And here you're seeing HARP, and these weather manipulation technologies she's referring to. Before the powers of destruction will succeed in their design, the universe will be thrown into disorder, and the age of iron will plunge into nothingness. Age of iron. What's another name for aliens? Iron. When nights will be filled with more intensive cold and days with heat, a new life will begin in nature. The heat means radiation from the earth, the cold, the waning light of the sun. Only a few more years and you become aware that sunlight has grown perceptibly weaker, when even your artificial light will cease to give service. The great event in the heavens will be near. So that's interesting. She's prophesying the second coming of the Lord. And saying that the sunlight will grow weaker. And I don't know how she gets, well, maybe because of all the ashes. We know that the Lord says that the day of the Lord is a time of darkness and gloominess. And so the sun is just blocked out from all the destruction, maybe volcanoes going off, wars, bombs, whatever. Yeah. St. Vincent Ferrer, 14th century. In the days of peace that are to come after the desolation of revolutions and wars, before the end of the world, the Christians will become so lax in their religion that they will refuse to receive the sacrament of confirmation, saying it is an unnecessary sacrament. Oh, yeah. Let's see. John of the Cleft Rock, 14th century. Towards the end of the world, tyrants and hostile mobs will rob the church and the clergy of all their possessions and will afflict and martyr them. Those who heap the most abuse upon them will be held in high esteem. Well, of course, we see that in our own government. The most wicked get promoted. At that time, the Pope with his cardinals will have to flee Rome in tragic circumstances to a place where they will be unknown. I can't imagine the Pope and cardinals going in where they're unknown. The Pope will die a cruel death in his exile. The sufferings of the Church will be much greater than at any previous time in her history. But God will raise a holy Pope and the angels will rejoice. Enlightened by God, this man will rebuild almost the whole world through his holiness. He will lead everyone to the true faith. Oh, it sounds like he was channeling Jermaine. Okay. You get some of these, oh yeah, set the world up for the coming Antichrist as false prophet. We'll jump to the next one. Maria Monastery, 16th century. The 20th century will bring death and destruction, apostasy from the church, discord in families, cities, and governments. It will be the century of 3 great wars with intervals of a few decades. They will become even more devastating and bloody and will lay in ruins not only Germany, but finally all countries of East and West. After a terrible defeat of Germany will follow the next great war. There will be no bread for people anymore and no fodder for animals. Poisonous clouds manufactured by human hands will sink down and exterminate everything. The human mind will be seized by insanity. Folks, this is the 16th century, and she's talking about weather manipulation and chemtrail clouds, HAARP clouds. And it's the same thing I've seen, warning about, and amazing. This is Maria Monastery from the 16th century. We know that, say, Germany was defeated. The next great war we're waiting on, World War III. No bread for people, no fodder for animals. Poisonous clouds manufactured by human hands. Doesn't get any more telltale than that. Here's another one. A venerable Bartholomew Holzhauser of the 17th century. He starts talking about getting in the fifth period. I don't know if I'm going to read this whole one, these evil times. Oh, here's one. These are the evil times. Essentially, I'm going down on this stuff by reading the whole thing. I'm just towards the end here. These are the evil times, a century full of dangers and calamities. Heresy is everywhere, and the followers of heresy are in power almost everywhere. But God will permit a great evil against His church. Heretics and tyrants will come suddenly and unexpectedly. They will break into the church. They will enter Italy and lay Rome waste. They will burn down churches and destroy everything.